It's all about to change for our narrowboat adventures, and things are going to be on a much bigger scale. We've nearly finished the Calder and Hebble navigation, with just this exciting section left. And this very kind boater has come out of his warm, cosy cabin to help us onto the river on this chilly winter's morning. Wearing about 20 layers of clothing today because I felt really cold, but now I'm out here it's not that bad. Back on the river again today, and we're hoping to come off the Cauldron and Hebble navigation and start the Aire and Calder navigation. That's the plan. One more lock left, and then all of the locks will be automated for a while. The locks on the Calder and Hebble have been a challenge because we are a 60-foot craft trying to squeeze into a 57-foot chamber. And the wooden handspike that I'm using here, which is such a unique feature of the Calder and Hebble locks, will lay to rest after this, tucked behind the sofa, until I can think of how it can be repurposed. It is official, I've overdressed for today. I'm absolutely sweating now. Right, let's do this lock. One more of the locks left where you require a spike. One more. Amazing. Okay, let's do this. But I am going to miss the Calder and Hebble, particularly Cromwell Bottom Nature Reserve, Freckles the leucistic blackbird, and the people that I've chatted to along the way, because everyone has been so friendly. They're lovely, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I haven't seen one for ages.
No. I think you're right. I think the weather's bringing them out.
I think it must be. It wasn't like this yesterday.
This navigation has made me a better boater too, because it's taught me to monitor the river levels and how to manage a flood situation. I just need to take some clothes. So hot. I'm covered in wood where I was loading up the wood this morning by the fire, and it's not glamorous boating. It is not glamorous. Oh. Right, here we go. Let's try again. Come on. And then, without breaking any world records, we were through the last lock and out onto the final stretch of the Calder and Hebble navigation. Wow, this is amazing. This bridge is at the southern end of the 95-arch Wakefield Viaduct, which was built using 800 million bricks in the 1860s. Beautiful. So we're coming into Wakefield in a minute. Soon we'll be coming off the River Calder, doing a tricky turn through Wakefield Floodlock, and then heading towards the Aire and Calder navigation. It's all looking really exciting ahead. Gorgeous old wharf on the river there. Launched from this wharf in 1905 was this wonderful boat called Imperial, whose job it was to ship coals and grains. So come out wide to make the turn. Got to concentrate now. The turns from the river back onto the canal are really tricky, and that's not how to do it. sorry about that. Before I go on to the new canal, I just want to have a quick explore of Wakefield. So this is a map of the 5 wonders of Wakefield. This is all part of a 21-mile cycle route. But as Zephyr is still very much at the learning stage of cycling, we're going to see how much we can do on foot and paw. Look at that! That's so clever to utilise rubbish in something that looks interesting. This sculpture is the work of local-born artist Barbara Hepworth, and it's called the Family of Man series, Parent 1, Parent 2 and Young Girl. Hepworth said that she wanted them to appear as if they had risen out of the ground. She was born in Wakefield in 1903 and is one of the most important artists of the 20th century, and I was very keen to see more of her work inside the Hepworth Museum. Got a problem, dogs aren't allowed in the museum, but they're allowed in the garden, so I'm going to have a little look around with Seth in the garden to see what we can see. Oh, I see some snowdrops already. I'm sure this snowdrop is called the grumpy face or something, the grumpy head snowdrop, because look, it looks like its mouth is down. "14,000 herbaceous perennials, 120 metres of beech hedging, and 52 trees and shrubs decorate themselves in this garden, all carefully chosen to paint evolving vistas with the seasonal changes." The scent coming off this winter daphne is beautiful. But the most eye-catching flower for me that day in the garden was the hybrid Lenten rose, which is not a rose at all, it's a hellebore. Barbara Hepworth said, "I prefer my work to be shown outside. I think sculpture grows in the open light, and with the movement of the sun, its aspect is always changing." Right, let's have a look. It's over here then. And this is one of Barbara Hepworth's sculptures here, called Ascending Form Gloria. She often used the standing form to give the feeling of a human figure, and she uses holes to show the insides of a sculpture, letting light through, giving different frames, and exploring balance. I can't really say which one is my favourite because I think I'd need to spend a year at least in this garden, learning how each one behaved as the setting changed in light and planting. Wow, look at this old mill, Cutter Mill it's called. So now we're going into like a courtyard. Should we have a look over here, Zeph? Or should we have a look around? Look around? Around, oh good. She's her whole face around there. This is the corn mill here. Zeph, can you come and sit here for me outside the old chimney and get a shot of you with the old chimney? Good girl, so stay. Good girl, can you sit for me? Good girl. There we go. Zeph with the old chimney, she's so good at this. You're a good girl, Zeph. Ooh, up we go. Okay, come now. Good girl. So our next stop is this really unusual building built in the bridge. This is the Chantry Chapel of St Mary the Virgin, built by the townspeople of Wakefield in the mid-14th century. You can't get in, it's locked. Between 1600 and 1800, religion was replaced by cheesecake, when it became a shop selling cheesecake. Later it became a corn merchant's office, then a newsroom, and finally a tailor's, before it was restored back to being a church again in the 1840s. It's pedestrianised, so don't worry, Zephyr's not standing in the road. Right, Zeph. Next, we are off to the cathedral. Here we go. Good girl. That's good.
Oh, thank you.
Good girl. Let's see if we can go in, Zeph. See if we can go in and have a look. So warm. But as I was admiring all the chandeliers on the ceiling, a gentleman politely came to tell me that dogs weren't allowed. So Zephyr found a cafe where dogs are allowed and where they had a great big jar of treats. It's believed that the original earthwork Mott and Bailey Castle of Sandal was probably completed in 1130. But this castle formed the backdrop in the War of the Roses when the Battle of Wakefield took place on the 30th of December 1460. We're going this way, Zeph. Yep, this way. There we go. A Lancastrian army of 15,000 men scattered themselves in the hills and woods to appear smaller in number outside the castle, in which the Duke of York and his 4,000 men waited, where rations were very low. If the Duke had stalled for longer, his son would have arrived with reinforcements. But perhaps the goading from Queen Margaret, who had summoned the opposition, and the fact her army looked beatable, drove him to throw open the gates of the castle and commence the bloody battle. Whatever it was that drove him, it was a grave mistake for the Duke of York. costing not only the Yorkist army its defeat, but also his own head. So this is the last lock that separates us from the Calder and Hebel and the Aire and Calder, I think. The only worrying thing about this lock is its name. I mean, that's just not really what you want to be reading when you're in a lock. Is the Calder and Hebel finished? What an adventure that was. So when we go through that flood lock, we are officially on the Aire and Calder. It feels so different. Everything is on a massive scale here, and so similar actually to the Gloucester and Sharpness Canal in my opinion. This morning it feels like my heart is being hugged by marshmallows. There's a real light, I don't know, feeling. It feels like spring, I suppose. The birds are singing, the sun is shining, and yeah, it's just lovely. And there's a nature reserve here, and I always get excited about those. So I'm going to go and have a look now. What do you feel your heart has been hugged with this morning, Seth? Has it been hugged by dentist sticks? Yeah. Should we go for another walk? Come on then. It's stunning out here this morning. I want to savour every piece of this beautiful walk, and the blue sky and the gold grass. I want to do that because, oh, hello bird. Good morning. Because we don't get days like this very often. I want to remember it. It's frozen. I thought we were going to get through a whole walk without you finding a ball. There's a dolphin in the sky. If I'd one stone to sculpt and shape, or one blank canvas on which to paint, I'd feel an overwhelming sense of fear in how I should commence. For if I'm hasty with my brush, or chisel in an ad hoc rush, I'd never capture my desire to fashion something to inspire. But if I fail to even start, just emptiness I will impart. So bit by bit, I'll chip at it, for life itself is art.